Nick, would you rather eat a dub or would you rather eat at a 3 Michelin star restaurant? But next to all of your ex-girlfriends.
Oh, God. Oh.
It's a tasting menu. Everyone gets the same portion. You're all at the same table.
Okay, how about we're at because I was gonna ask, am I at a table by myself?
No, you're all at the same
table. Are they
at
a table next to me, like talking about me the whole time?
You know what? Either whichever one's better for you, honestly.
I think being at the same table would be worse.
I feel like you being at your own table would be worse because like you're eating your food in silence. All of a sudden you hear a giggle and you're looking over your shoulder like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
That time?
You're right.
Oh, what did I do that time?
I mean, but at the same time, I also went and got breakfast by myself.
Stop laughing at it.
Yeah. It was enough. It was adequate or better.
And speaking of getting the party started.
For the victory lap, though. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Switch gears, with keeping haters in the rear. At the blood, sweat, and tears, and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. It's a day, we break through. 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 It's a day, we break through.
What's up, everybody? It is time for your favorite podcast, and the only one in the world in which we can find, at least, that talks about our two loves exclusively, that being Formula One and football. It's everybody's favorite podcast that combines those two loves. The Gridiron Podcast, episode 53. I am Sean Barie. Joining me today, as always, is the Bald Behemoth. If you're watching on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, he's in the box directly to my left. It's Nick Shook holding down the fort in the land. Normally, we're joined by a third as well, that being our Canadian queen, Katie Caldwell, but she is right now gallivanting all across the southeastern United States. So I guess it's just the old Sean and Shook podcast this week. Nick, how you doing?
Throwing it back. Sorry if I looked preoccupied there. I was firing off the tweet to direct people to listen to us here on our live streaming platform. You can always watch us live on Twitch and YouTube, not on Twitter anymore unless you pay for Twitter, and I'm not paying for Twitter because fight the power. And you can catch us always on YouTube and Twitch and SoundCloud and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, anywhere else that you get your podcast. You can find us. It is episode 53, like you said, Sean, which in the doc, I think Katie wrote is the Harry Carson episode, which is a deep pull for NFL fans from the 80s and 90s. Former New York Giants linebacker, edge rusher, Hall of Famer. Not going to be talking about the Giants, though, tonight, are we, Sean?
No, but we can talk about the Steelers a little bit later, my team, if you want to. And in fact, we will. You could have also gone with the Marquise Pouncey episode. I feel like that would have been good as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
sure. That's neither here nor there. We've got a lot.
Whatever.
We've got a lot to get to in this episode. As Nick mentioned, you can catch us on Twitch, not Twitter. You can catch us on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts. Comment along. We'll read your comments out. And as always, you can email us as well at the Gridiron Podcast 3. That's the Gridiron Podcast 3. Damn those other two.
Just you saying it. Just you saying it today.
I know. That's fine. It's normally a me and Katie thing. She's not here right now. Again, that's the Gridiron Podcast 3 at gmail.com. Go ahead and drop us an email. If you want us to read it out as we podcast, we will do so. We're recording here on October 29th. So happy Halloween. By the time this comes out, it'll be Halloween. And it'll also be week 9 in the NFL. Nick, as our resident NFL talent writer, what'd you see from week 8 that got your antennas up?
I mean, don't we start with the most thrilling play of the season and a play that people are always going to remember, and that is the Jayden Daniels Hail Mary and the Tyreek Stevenson too busy taunting the opposing sideline and fans to actually participate in the play to cover Noah Brown and prevent the guy who's intentionally positioned behind the crowd to catch a tip. I mean, that was electric. I
feel like I was there after you just described it.
I know. I mean, hey, I have a way with words. It used to be called FedEx Field. I don't know what it's called now, nor do I care to know what it's called at the moment, because I'm not,
The house that
broadcasting from
Jayden
there.
Daniels is building. That's what
Yeah,
it's called right now.
it's probably going to get torn down before he actually builds, but he's turned it into a hell of a place to watch a football game this season. Everything coming up Commanders after being stuck in misery under Dan Snyder's ownership. Year 1.5, technically, of the team being sold under new ownership, and everything is going right for them. So much that divine intervention goes their way in a win over the Bears, a win in which the Commanders outplayed the Bears, but looked like they were going to lose the game. Also, a win in which Jayden Daniels had to play through a rib injury. A thrilling finish there. The Commanders keep on winning. And that was probably the headline from the day. But I mean, the Eagles suddenly kind of look good again. I mean, not kind of, they look good again. They beat the Bengals by 20. They exploded for 27 second half points. The Browns finally got a win. They beat none other than the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson with none other than Jameis Winston at quarterback. The Lions dropped a
go
52
figure. I mean,
bomb.
Wasn't that on the script at the beginning of the season, Nick? Come on. You're the NFL guy. Don't you have the preseason script ready to go?
I do contribute chunks of this script. So, yeah, let's just say Jameis's pregame speeches that warranted a cameo and a win, and especially the timing, couldn't go any better.
Which also, if we can go back to that Commanders game real quick, and we will go back to it, but, you're giving the Commanders a shout-out. They gave you a shout-out. After the win, you're the only NFL writer that chose them to beat the Bears and Caleb Williams. And what did the meme say? If no one else is riding with me, I know
nobody got me. I know and Shook got me. Can I get an amen?
They're like, shout out and Shook.
Yeah, and the funniest part is this is not the first time a team has done this to me. The Cowboys did this to me a few years ago, but as we throw it up on the screen there, they didn't even tag me in the tweet. You made it, man.
You made it.
Didn't even tag me in the tweet. I'm not hard to find. There's a lot of Nick Shooks. I'm the most prominent one. I'm also the one with the least amount of hair. It's not hard to find me, but everybody in the comments, they're, he wasn't shook to pick them. No, I wasn't. You know why? Because I believe in Jayden Daniels, who's going to run away with Offensive Rookie of the Year. And as long as he played, I thought they had a shot. Didn't think they were going to win by a Hail Mary. And shout out to our good friend Austin Coley, from back in our Kent State days, or for me back in my St. Joseph school days. I've known him since kindergarten. The Bears fan who got his heart ripped out of his chest, and he just texts me and goes, "You're only happy they won, so the Commanders will shout you out." And no more than 5 minutes later, another friend of that group chat drops this tweet in there. Like, it was just like clockwork. It happened so quickly. So that was fun. That was a cool part of that for sure.
I want to read you the text from my group chat with Austin and then our other college roommate, Kevin Kendall. Kevin tweeted or texted us at 7:32, Chicago with the comeback. And then 5 minutes later, not 5 minutes later on the dot, LOL, sorry, Austin, spoke too soon.
Don't count the score before the ball is in the hole, my friends.
Austin just texted back, shut up. Shut up.
Leave me alone. I'm going to go sit in the corner and cry now.
I do. Bears, he also said, well, the best text from him said, what is it? He said, it must have. Did he? Darn it, he must have deleted it or something. He's like, I can't get over this, and I don't drink. I was like, no time like the present.
The master of the yoo-hoo.
Exactly. Loves the yoo-hoo, loves the Nesquik, Austin Coley. Yeah, shout out Austin. Aside, we'll go back to that game in a second, specifically Jayden Daniels. What else stuck out to you this weekend?
I mean, we just ran through a couple more. The Lions dropped a 52 burger on the Titans with
Are the
Jared
Lions
Goff.
Really quick? Are the Titans that bad, or are the Lions just that much better than everybody else?
This is one of those games, Sean, where I greatly benefited from my weekly process for QB Index, which is watching every game back play by play. Takes a lot of time. I still got 2 games left in a 16-game week. I'm through 14 games by Tuesday evening. But this is one of those games where you look at it statistically and you think, how the hell did they score 52 points? Well, they got turnovers. It seemed like every time they got the ball, they were in Tennessee territory. And if
Jared
they weren't,
Goff only passed for like 86 yards.
85 yards, 12, 15, 85 yards, 3 touchdowns, because they started their drives on the Tennessee like 30 or less a number of times. And then special teams, Khalif Raymond had a career day. He took one back for a touchdown. He caught a touchdown pass too, but he had like 3 punt returns that were really long and put him in their territory. Let me run this down for you real quick. Second drive began Tennessee 23. Fifth drive began Tennessee 25. Sixth drive, Tennessee 12. Seventh drive, Tennessee 22. Ninth drive, Tennessee 26. And out of those drives, they got touchdown, 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 touchdown. What a concept. When you get the ball deep in enemy territory, looks like you have a better chance of scoring a touchdown. That's how you get the 52 points.
I have heard that rumor before, yes.
Oh, yes, you can confirm. And I can definitely confirm because my eyes watched it and can confirm as well. The Falcons took down the Buccaneers. Kirk Cousins threw for 4 touchdown passes. The Patriots beat the Jets, which Aaron Rodgers' hater, Katie Caldwell, was probably rejoicing while she was gallivanting across the southern United States.
We can now stick a fork in the Jets. Like,
they're done. They're done.
I mean, we only have like a week left until the trade deadline. Can Devontae Adams be traded again? Like, can he get himself out of that situation?
So in the NBA, you actually can't be traded like consecutively that quickly. I think there's like a 90-day window. I don't know if that exists in the NFL. Having said that, I don't think they'll move him either. I think this
Call is it. I mean, it's not buyer's remorse because the Jets were the one that was buying, but in Devontae Adams' case, seller's remorse, maybe.
Movers remorse. Brought to you by U-Haul. Tua Tagovailoa, not a sponsor. We're not sponsored on this show. Not right now, at least. Tua Tagovailoa came back after an extended absence due to a concussion and got the Dolphins to 27 points and nearly a win, but they lost.
Can I gripe real quick? Tyreek Hill. I'm talking directly to you, my man. The hell? You come out on Thursday and you're like, start me in your fantasy
Strike
league.
Up the band.
We back. Start me. So I started you. Where you at, man? I lost this week. Again, I'm sucking in fantasy this year. And I've got a team with Tyreek Hill, Josh Allen, George Kittle on it. Now somehow I'm 2-5. You tell me, Tyreek, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do, Tyreek? Anyway, continue, please.
I mean, just don't attach your wagon to the Miami Dolphins until they prove otherwise. Like, look at me, dude. My record is bad this year in picks. It's getting better. I nailed a lot of picks last week. But it's been a really unpredictable season. And the Dolphins are one of those teams that did not live up to expectations. They're 2-5. But unlike the Jets, I'm not going to bury them yet. I think they could go on a run and maybe sneak into the playoffs. Also on the docket, the Bills.
Stop it, Nick. Stop it and
out.
Stop it.
They look a lot better with Tua on the field than they did before. I know they lost that game.
Oh, you said the Jets.
No, I meant the Dolphins. The Jets.
Okay, you said the Jets.
No, I meant the Dolphins.
Okay.
The Bills went all the way across the country to the Pacific Northwest and put the hammer on the Seahawks. 31-10 was the final, but it was really more like 31-3. They scored a touchdown late. Didn't really matter. The Broncos beat the Panthers, which is not news, except Sean Payton clearly tried to run up the score and pissed off the Panthers, which was hilarious to me. And the 49ers exploded for 21 points in the third quarter to beat the Cowboys, who I think are also a listless ship. That pretty much wraps up your week. We didn't talk Rams because they played on Thursday, and that was after we had recorded our last show. But they got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, and suddenly they look like a team that can move the football and put points up. And the NFC West is wide open, so keep an eye on them. They beat the Vikings. The Vikings have lost 2 straight. Matthew Stafford going to jump back up the QB index this week. I think I tanked him a little too hard.
As soon as they won that game and as soon as Puka and Cooper just looked as good as they did, freshly back from injury, Cooper Kupp tied to the Steelers rumor mill, but so is every other wide receiver on the market. As soon as he had that game, I was like, nope, we ain't getting them. They're just because why would you get rid of them? Why would you break up the band when, yes, that is a division that is up for grabs? And as soon as you get into the playoffs, it's anyone's ball game, really, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sean, I want you right now, before we dive into our NFL topics for the week, to stop wishing for receivers.
That's a fool's errand, and I gave up after as soon as they started mentioning Devontae Adams for the second time, I was like, we're not getting a receiver. Like, this just isn't happening.
No.
It's not going to happen. Cooper Kupp seemed like a little bit more of a reality than Devontae Adams, but we had the whole Brandon Ayuk saga. That wasn't happening. We had the whole, Devontae Adams. Like, Devontae Adams.
Felt like Adams is more realistic.
And then Cooper Kupp seemed pretty realistic, and then it's, hey, he's healthy, and so is Puka Nacua, and boom, they win. It's like, oh, come on. I will say today, with Deontay Johnson going to the Ravens, and for a fifth. So
you know what's funny too is like I've been tracking that for weeks because they've had to answer that for weeks because they're a bad football team, and twice he's been like, I want to be here, I like it here, and then he didn't play last weekend,
Sure.
and suddenly he's been moved. The thing is like, does he really add that much to the Ravens?
I don't know.
I mean, Zay Flowers is the guy.
Option, I guess. But when you have Zay Flowers, Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, and Isaiah Likely, that's a pretty fearsome foursome right there.
I just like that the Browns beating the Ravens prompted the Ravens to make a trade for a receiver because Rashad Bateman dropped a ball that he lost in the sun and it went off his face mask.
It's like that SpongeBob meme. You know when he takes off his shirt and he's all muscular. That's the Ravens playing anybody not in the AFC North, and then switch over to the SpongeBob in the normal. Hi, how you doing? That's the Ravens when they play anybody in the AFC North.
Nice weather we're having.
Nice weather we're having.
I'm
Lamar Jackson. Hi, how are you?
I've had the email up.
True.
I just realized that on the screen.
It's true.
Poor production elements out of
That's
me.
fine. Email us anyway.
Should have been this NFL Week 8, and it wasn't. But go ahead, Sean.
Let's get into our NFL topics because we kind of mentioned everything that was this weekend. So now let's get into some fun. We talked about the Hail Mary heard around the world. Jayden Daniels, Aaron went out 65 yards. Who caught it again? Remind me.
Noah Brown, who started the season with the Houston Texans, started his NFL career with the Dallas Cowboys. And the only reason he's not on the Texans, who could definitely use him now because Stephon Diggs is out for the season with a torn ACL, and they still have Nico Collins on IR with a hamstring injury. The only reason they got rid of him is because they had too much talent at receiver and didn't have the roster space to keep him.
How about now, Houston? The video coming out afterwards of the Bears defender taunting the fans and then going, oh, shoot, and running over to the, scrum. I've never seen anything like that before. I don't think I ever will again. I mean, that's a one-way ticket to like the bench, man. That is a one-way ticket to NFL purgatory right there.
His coach even threw him under the bus the day after they asked him about it, and
I would throw him under the bus.
That was Tyreek's job. That was Tyreek Stevenson's job, and he wasn't there to put a body on him.
I don't feel like that's fair, Nick. That's not throwing someone under the bus. That's holding them accountable. You can absolutely.
Well, you can hold somebody accountable
that
privately, but publicly he acknowledged it.
No, you can have it.
Runs the bus right over.
When there is a viral video of your defender blowing his assignment because he is literally taunting the fans and doesn't realize the ball has been snapped, go ahead and say whatever you want about him. Deserves it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the topic. So we talked about that. Jayden Daniels, just this kid, he's last year's CJ Stroud. He is, or this year's CJ Stroud. He can do anything he wants. Bring his team back to victory at the death. So my question to you, Nick, is what can't Jayden Daniels do?
Well, I have a few ideas. They're a little bit off the wall, Sean. Number one, what can't Jayden Daniels do? He can't rent a car because he's 23 years old. And you have to be 25 to rent a car unless you're in a situation like I found myself at one time where I got away with it anyway. Actually, I think that applies for when you're getting a hotel room. I think you have to be 21, and I tried to get a hotel room one time when I was 19. Didn't work. So yeah, he can't rent a car. So Hertz, all those other places, you got to wait till he's 25 before you sign him to a deal, because otherwise, factually, it just wouldn't make sense.
What can't Jayden Daniels do? I don't think, I know he is very athletic and very talented, but I don't think he can both pat his head and rub his belly at the same time. It's difficult. I've never been able to master it. I don't think he can do it either.
I'm doing it right now, but it's on my chest so you can see it on the screen. It's not that hard. I can't play drums, but I can definitely do this. I can also chew gum while I walk. I can't believe you can't do that, Sean. That's shocking.
Can't do it. No. What else can't Jayden Daniels do, Nick?
What can't Jayden Daniels do? Well, he threw a rocket for a touchdown. It was a majestic strike of sorts, a prayer sent to the heavens. But he can't launch an actual rocket like from Cape Canaveral or otherwise. He's not a rocket scientist. Also, speaking of heavens, I don't know if he's ordained to officiate a wedding. I can't confirm or deny that, but I'm going to guess he's not.
It takes an hour online these days.
Have you done it before?
No, but
I know Coley has.
I've heard. What can't Jayden Daniels do? He can't lick his elbow. Nobody can do that. It's impossible. Go ahead, try it. That's the only reason I said that is because I wanted you to try that.
It's so close.
This is what the people came to hear and or see.
Big arms, kind of.
Oh yeah, I'm so jacked. I can't lick my elbow.
You can't get your I had a teacher in high school who used to go, "Hey, can you touch your shoulders and do this?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I can't." I mean, I can't.
No, that's a football injury, Nick.
No, well, yes. I mean, I have torn my labrum. You're correct. What can't Jayden Daniels do? This is a sad one, and he's actually kind of doing this year, but Jayden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy at LSU. His team should have been better than they were. In fact, they were probably good enough to contend for the national championship last year because of him. But what he can't do is make up for a bad defense. They had one of the worst defenses in college football last year with a guy who was lighting college football on fire with his arm and legs so much that it was a pretty easy decision that he would win the Heisman Trophy. They finished 10-3. And here are some of the point totals in their losses. They lost a game, and I remember watching this. This was late September. They played at Ole Miss. They lost 55-49 in Oxford, Mississippi. They lost at Alabama 42-28.
I remember this seemed like a Big 12 team from back in the day. All offense, all gas, no defense.
Yes, and then they opened the season in a game that actually introduced the world to Keon Coleman. They lost to Florida State at Camping World Stadium in Sean, which is where?
Orlando.
There you go. Season opening game, 45-24 against Florida State. Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and Florida State. He cannot make up for a bad defense. Washington, notably, entered the NFL this season with last season's worst defense. They ranked 32nd in yards allowed per game. They're not that bad this year. They're kind of coming around. They got some veterans. They got Bobby Wagner there. Dan Quinn is overseeing them now. It's a big part of why they hired him. But ultimately, and they held the Bears to under 20 points. But at least what we learned in college, you can't make up for a bad defense.
What can't Jayden Daniels do? I'll round it out. Jayden Daniels can't skydive. I mean, he probably can, but he was probably in his contract somewhere that, he can't do something dangerous like that. So he probably can't do that.
He can't also perform heart or brain surgery.
I mean, ye of little
faith. He's surgical on the field, but
this is why he's an NFL talent writer, folks.
Yeah.
He's got the quick wit. Yeah. That's what Jayden Daniels can and can't do, Nick. Moving on, we talked about this earlier as well, kind of mentioned a little bit. The Browns getting the win over the Ravens, which is, hilarious. For real. Bravo, NFL script writers. Let's go have the Ravens beat up on Baker Mayfield and the Bucs on Monday Night Football, drop 42 on them, then turn around and go lose to the Jameis Winston-led Cleveland Browns. This is like an episode of Practical Jokers. I love it. And then they said, Rashad Bateman, drop the ball off your face mask. And he did it.
Lamar Jackson missed two wide open guys down the field that would have been touchdowns. He did it. Shout out to the Browns defense for playing pretty well. They gave up 387 yards, but they held Baltimore to 2 for 10 on third down. They won this game without forcing a turnover, and they were able to mount one last stand when the Ravens got in scoring range at the end of the game. Shocking win for them, but you know what? Hey, man, tip of the cap to Jameis Winston, 27 of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of 115.3. That reads a lot like a Baker Mayfield stat line from a few weeks ago. And the most awkward and also hilarious pregame and postgame interviews in some time.
What is Jameis Winston's slogan, Nick?
His slogan, made famous in an infamous pregame speech back when he was with the Buccaneers, they were playing in New Orleans in the Superdome, was, see this? This is a W. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can see me making the W right now. He says, eat a W. And he started eating his fingers. Like, eat a W. And
I love how you're reenacting this for us.
People remember that. I actually found out today, the whole week leading up to that speech, he was all about eat a W, so much that he had W-shaped pancakes made for his offensive linemen.
I love it.
This guy leans in, man.
So here's how we're going to do this, Nick. I'm going to ask, and then you can ask me, would you rather eat a dub? And then I'll insert something else in there. You ready?
Yes.
Would you rather, Nick, eat a dub or a 48-ounce bone-in ribeye, medium rare?
Is this any dub? Is this a Super Bowl dub? Is it an AFC or NFC championship dub? Is it a dub?
This is a regular season NFL dub.
48-ounce ribeye.
Over the Ravens or the Steelers, if you prefer.
I went to a dinner with a bunch of colleagues in Miami the week of the Super Bowl 2019, early 2020, before COVID. We went to a restaurant in South Beach that two of my colleagues split a 64-ounce tomahawk steak. It came out on a cart, Sean.
Yes.
It had two massive bones sticking out. It came out on its own cart. I would eat that, and I would eat a 48-ounce ribeye steak as well over a dub. Sean.
Yeah.
Would you rather eat a dub or a Polish boy?
Ooh. You know what, Nick? I'm going to go with the dub, and I'll tell you why. I've had a couple Polish boys in my life, which, if you're not familiar, is a Cleveland staple. It is a kielbasa on a hoagie roll, or, a hot dog bun, basically, a big hot dog bun. And what? It's got coleslaw, fries, and hot sauce on it, right?
Yep.
I don't like the hot sauce I've had on these Polish boys, very vinegary and just kind of grainy a couple of times. Also, the fries aren't always that good. I'd take a permani sandwich over a Polish boy.
There it is.
Any day of the week. So I'm going to eat a dub today.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Nick, would you rather eat a dub, or would you rather? Well, I guess that you can't eat that. I guess it doesn't have to be food. Would you rather eat a dub, or would you rather have a healthy Baker Mayfield back on the Browns?
Oh, now we're getting personal. I'm going to eat a dub because the relationship had been so frayed between the Browns and Baker Mayfield by the time the Deshaun Watson stuff started heating up that I don't think that it was ever going to work out. Having said that, Baker did post about the passing of the late, great, legendary broadcaster Jim Donovan, who lost his battle with cancer over the weekend. Somebody I knew very well from my time at the Browns, and he was always really great with me and just an amazing guy. He'll be very missed for forever.
A true legend. Even though he was on the opposite side of the rivalry from me, I mean, man, that guy was a legend.
But Baker posted about that, and people got in the comments, and they were like, "We miss you, Baker. Like, you're a Cleveland legend." And somebody posted like a GIF of him like doing like his his fist pump and all that stuff in a Browns uniform, and I was like, damn, takes me back. But I'd rather take the dub because we don't look back; we only go forward.
Go forward. Well, okay. Settle down there.
All right, hey man, look, you made it personal, so I had to react. All right, I'm gonna keep it Cleveland here. Sean, would you rather eat a dub or a Slyman's corned beef sandwich?
Ooh. Having not had one before, I do know about Slyman's. I would rather eat the corned beef sandwich than a dub.
They are thick. They're meaty.
No, I know.
Let's see if I can pull up.
I know of it. I just have not been to Slyman's yet. So you could have also had me with that West Side Market jerky stand.
Shukre.
Yeah. Love them. Do they ship to Tampa? Can they, please? I need like a pound of like the apple cider.
I was eating at Great Lakes, which got a name drop last week from Katie. And they had Shukre bacon in one of their dishes, which is very cool. This is a Slyman's corned beef sandwich, by the way.
Yeah, I'd take that over a dub any day.
Yeah. Delicious.
A little mustard on there.
Okay. All right. Sean?
Nick, would you rather eat a dub, or would you rather eat at a 3 Michelin star restaurant? But next to all of your ex-girlfriends.
Oh, God. That was a great twist. You should be a script writer. Wow. I would definitely eat a dub.
3 Michelin star restaurant. There's only a handful of those in the world, Nick.
Yeah, and you know what? The bill's going to be high, and I'm going to have to pay.
What if it was for free? What if it was for free?
Oh.
It's a tasting menu. Everyone gets the same portion. You're all at the same table.
Okay, how about we're at because I was going to ask, am I at a table by myself?
No, you're all at the same table.
Are they at a table next to me, like talking about me the whole time?
You know what? Whichever one's better for you, honestly.
I think being at the same table would be worse.
I feel like you being at your own table would be worse because, like, you're eating your food in silence. All of a sudden, you hear a giggle, and you're looking over your shoulder, like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah.
Oh, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
That time.
You're right.
Oh, what did I do that time?
I mean, but at the same time, I also went and got breakfast by myself.
Stop laughing at it.
Yeah. It was enough. It was adequate or better. I'd rather eat a dub. I
You
don't
eat the dub. There we go.
It's not that I'm averse to conflict or can't handle that situation, but there's a reason. Again, we all move forward in life.
Moving forward, the theme of tonight's podcast, and so is apparently keeping it Cleveland. Nick, give me one more.
All right, this is a little bit of a Rust Belt choice here. I'm going all food. I didn't actually go outside the range of food. I should have. Maybe I'll come in with a bonus one at the end. Sean, would you rather eat a dub or a plate of pierogies?
Ooh, you know what? As soon as you mentioned the corned beef sandwich, I'm like, ooh, I would like to eat some pierogies. I would eat a plate of pierogies. And I'll tell you what, my girlfriend and I went to a local brewery down here in Tampa about a month or two ago, and there was a food truck there called the Kielbasi Bus. The guy has a shirt on. It's like Polish and proud. And I'm not Polish. We're both Slovakian or, descendants from Slovaks and Czechs and all that stuff. And I mean, those pierogies were fresh. The kielbasi was fresh, straight off the grill. Got some nice cabbage-filled pierogies with some sour cream on top. And the guy looks at me and goes, do you want some sauteed onions on top? And I just stared at him. He goes, I got you. I was like, come on, man. Like, my grandma's maiden name was Serdula. They're from Prague. Like, yes, I want some sauteed onions on top of my pierogies. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'd eat the pierogies.
I would agree. Pierogies are delicious.
Pierogies are
the only
awesome.
downside is that when you order pierogies in a restaurant setting, you usually get like 3.
Yeah.
I could eat like 15.
This guy, and I'll tell you what, again, want to look him up. Not a sponsor. I just really like this guy's work. It was called the Kielbasi Bus. It's down here in the Tampa area. But I think there was an order. It was 6 pierogies.
That's enough.
And it was a whole kielbasi link.
Oh,
and it was
yeah,
like
that's a meal.
$14.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got a side of fries. We got a side of fries, and the side of fries was an entire to-go container of like really nice hand-cut fries.
Oh.
And we had so much leftovers. Oh, so good, though. So good.
Do you have any more?
Yeah.
Not the fries. But...
I don't have any more.
Okay, I have one more for you.
Go for it.
Would you rather eat a dub or have the Pittsburgh Pirates advance to the NLCS?
That's not a question. I would have the Pirates advance to the NLCS where they would eat the dub.
No. They can't go to the World Series. They can only get to the NLCS.
I'd take that then. Because you know the last time the Pirates won a playoff series?
Well, that wild card game counts, doesn't it?
No, that's a game. That's a single game. Won a series.
1992.
No, because the wild card, the divisional rounds did not exist until 1995 after the lockout. Prior to that, you just took the 2 best teams in each league, had your CS, and then went to the World Series. The last time the Pirates won a playoff series, it was the 1979 World Series.
Oh.
So, yeah, Nick, I would take them in the NLCS because that at the very least means that they either won both the wild card and division series or at least the division series. So, yeah.
What about one more season with Ben Roethlisberger? It's prime Ben Roethlisberger, but he's got to retire after the season.
Ooh. Now, are we talking like, but I don't know.
2010 Ben Roethlisberger, but he's only got 1 year.
Right now, yes. Yes, I would take that because you got George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and that defense with Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, I'd take that. I'd take that.
Thinking they were doing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would take that in a heartbeat. Prime Ben Roethlisberger with this team right now, even. Yeah, take that.
All right, that's it for Would You Rather Eat a W or?
Speaking of the Steelers, meanwhile, they beat the Giants on Monday Night Football, 26-18. Bit of a back-and-forth game. Daniel Jones looking good at some points. The Giants were running the ball effectively, which I thought was a huge surprise, and I feel like everybody thought was a huge surprise at some point. Regardless, Steelers win their 3rd straight, improved to 6-2 on the season, headed into the bye. Had 2 touchdowns called back in the first half. Both to George Pickens, by the way. One on the first drive of the game for an atrocious face mask penalty committed by Broderick Jones. Pulling the D lineman's face mask after Russell Wilson was already in his throwing motion in front of them. So the face mask had absolutely no bearing on the play whatsoever, but it negated a touchdown regardless. And then later on in the half, George Pickens again in coverage. Great throw from Russell Wilson to a place where only George Pickens could get it. Takes the contact, gets 2 feet in bounds until you review it and you find out that those 2 feet were actually the same foot twice, which, yeah, you don't ever think about that not being a catch because I've never seen anything like that happening before. Just a person's right foot touching twice. But I feel like also, Nick, like, isn't that a higher degree of difficulty, like, than just getting 2 feet down? Like, you got the same foot down twice. That's pretty difficult to do. I don't think we've seen that before.
I mean, it happened because he got blasted in the chest when he was bringing his left foot down, and then it kept his left foot up in the air. Like physics wise.
Right, but like points for difficulty. It's just unfortunately you couldn't get points on the scoreboard. And I feel like a lot of fans had never thought about that scenario before, and they were racking their brains going, wait, doesn't that count as 2 feet? Because if you get one knee down, one knee counts as 2 feet. One elbow counts as 2 feet. One butt cheek counts as 2 feet. But for some reason, the same foot twice doesn't count as 2 feet. I guess we've never thought of it like that before, but that's neither here nor there. So I went down a rabbit hole, Nick, is some other obscure NFL rules that we've never thought of. Now, you are an employee of the NFL, so I would hope you know some of these rules. So bear with me here.
This is like a trivia moment here.
But at the same time, no, let's just go through them here together. This is just some fun stuff. I'll start with this. You played football and you had trainers right on the sidelines.
Yes.
What did they have in their medical bag, Nick?
Athletic tape, scissors,
Probably
pre-wrap
some medication of some kind.
I think they would have a quick break ice bag, maybe some sort of hydration or like gel.
Gotcha. But like I'm talking like maybe some Tylenol, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, Aleve, stuff like that. You know, stuff just to get you. NFL, yeah. Oh, yeah. NFL's a little bit more serious, right? You need some pain meds right there on the sideline. You need some smelling salts, all that fun stuff. You know what they're not allowed to have on the sideline?
Painkillers.
Adderall. Players cannot take Adderall day of the game unless prescribed by a doctor and approved by the NFL.
Actually, that's what Joe Hayden got popped for PEDs. That falls into the PEDs category.
It is considered a PED. No Adderall. So you can study all night for an exam in college, but God forbid if you go to the NFL, no focusing for you.
Yeah.
You ever heard of the fair catch free kick, Nick?
Yes.
Okay, you have? It's only been used 5 times since 1990. Can you explain it to us?
I mean, because a free kick is essentially something that follows a safety. But the fair catch would be the mechanism at the end of the free kick, correct?
So, no. The fair catch is a team receiving a punt after calling a fair catch can elect to try a field goal that the other team cannot defend. They got to stand 10 yards away from the attempt. And if it's good, it's 3 points.
Oh, that's like the drop kick being worth a point. Like,
speaking of, have you ever heard of the drop kick?
I have. Doug Flutie did the drop kick with the Patriots.
Doug Flutie famously in 2005. If you don't know what this is, it's the first time in 2005 it had been used in the NFL since 1941. So we're talking before Pearl Harbor here, folks.
Before face masks.
Yeah, we're talking when the forward pass was a risky move. So the drop kick is essentially a quarterback can take the ball. By the way, this is common practice in rugby and in Canadian football, but the quarterback can take the football, drop it onto the ground, and off the bounce, kick it through the uprights. It's only worth 1 point. Again, Doug Flutie did this for the Patriots back in 2005, and that was the first time it had been done since before World War II.
Which is like a difficult thing to do, number one. Number two, like what's
I don't know what the
point of
use
getting
is
a
for.
point?
Yeah, because if you're close enough to drop kick it, you're close enough to attempt a field goal. And one of those players' sole job, is to kick. And the other one,
it made more sense because back in the day, kickers used to kick like straight on instead of soccer style. Soccer style didn't really come around until like the 70s. So like you would drop it and then just boot it forward, and it would be easier to do, I guess. That's not the only 1 point play in football, Sean. Do you have the other 1 point play possibility in your list?
Is that returning a blocked PAT?
No, that would be a 2 point.
It's 2 points? Okay. What's the other 1 point play?
It involves a safety. And I think it's a safety on like a punt return or some sort. Like because I've seen that be 2 points. I can't actually remember what the specifics of it are, but it is possible in a very unique circumstance. It might be a safety. It might be a safety on a PAT.
Know.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Yeah, okay. It's a safety on an extra point or a 2-point conversion. It's
that must be very difficult to do because the ball has to travel 98 yards the other way.
No. If a team attempting an extra point or 2-point conversion scores what would normally be a safety, the attempting team is awarded 1 point. So, like in this instance, Sean, if you went for 2 and it got picked and then they fumbled it into their own end zone, out of their own end zone, or they recovered in their own end zone, it would be a safety. If that makes sense.
Sort of, I guess.
Like,
how about this, Nick?
Yeah.
Before every game begins, captains meet, middle of the field. What do?
I mean, you have the coin toss.
There you go. You have a winner and a loser, correct?
Yeah.
Did you know that there's another way for a team to lose the coin toss automatically?
By not running a captain out there?
Yeah, by not having anyone out on the field in time for the coin toss, it's automatically a loss.
So
I mean, you kind of figure, but like stuff you don't think about.
Well, okay, but what about this in that scenario? Because it's a loss, so the other team gets to decide, kick a receiver, defer to the second half, right? But at the same time, you also have to decide what end of the field you want to defend on. And if there's nobody out there to make that decision, then do they lose
I would
that
assume
right
just
too?
it's whoever. You're not there to defend your point, so everybody gets it. How about this one? This is I found this out too. If a snap goes like errant snap goes through the quarterback's legs, the next person to touch the ball, offense or defense, must be said quarterback. If the snap goes through. So, all right. Snap goes through the quarterback's legs. Doesn't fumble it, doesn't go over his head. It goes directly through the wickets. The next person that must touch the football is that quarterback.
Otherwise,
no one on the defense can touch it. No one on the offense can touch it. It's a live ball, but only the quarterback can touch it.
That feels like a lie. How is it a live ball if only he can touch it? I feel like you're lying to me. I feel like I'm on Who's Lying.
I Googled this stuff, man.
Did you use Google AI, which also said that there was a limit on onside kick attempts?
No, I did not. This was a article a couple of years ago. Some of these rules might have changed, but these are the rules throughout history, I guess. How about this, Nick? When a team scores, what happens after you got the PAT? Then what happens after the PAT?
You kick it off.
Yeah. You know who decides that?
Whether you kick it off or not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now you have the dynamic kickoffs. Yeah, if you want an onside kick, you have to actually inform the other team.
As the rules are written, Nick, technically, the team that did not score decides who receives the ball next. Now, who in their right mind would give the ball right back?
This must have came from the 1800s.
But the team that did not score decides who receives the ball next. It's a formality, so no one even checks, obviously, because, yes, of course you're going to take the ball back. It's just that's how the game is played now. But say the Browns and Steelers were playing, Steelers march down to the field and score, the Browns can be like, nah, we're good. Give it back to Russ. And just keep doing that over and over.
We're losing by a million. Just keep it
until the end of time. That is actually a rule. The way the rule is technically written, teams that do not score have the option of who receives the ball next. Again, who in their right mind wouldn't take the ball? Those are obscure NFL rules brought on by George Pickens getting 2 feet in bound, but it was the same foot twice.
Anything butt
else
cheek.
From the NFL, Nick?
A reminder, one butt cheek counts as 2 feet. So work on those glutes, folks.
Or right cheek.
Build that mass so that you have a higher chance of getting that cheek inbounds. Could win the game for you.
Want to check in on the comments real quick?
It was a lot of back and forth. Lemon Bendy said, can we stick a fork in the AFC East division race? Yes.
Probably.
We can. The Buffalo Bills are going to win that division. See if the Dolphins sneak in, but the Buffalo Bills are going to win that division. That's the only division that I would wrap up as of right now. Also, every Panthers fan, many of whom used to be Washington fans, was happy to see that Hail Mary.
Why are they Washington fans?
Because the Panthers were an expansion franchise that started in 95. So they probably grew up Washington fans because the Ravens weren't around either. And the Colts left in 84. So there was this 11-year period where the only team in the area was Washington.
In all of like
the DMV and Carolinas.
I think it's a little far away. All right, that's it for the NFL. Let's shift gears, Nick. We're heading to F1 now because it's well past due. We were in Mexico City this weekend, high in the altitude of Mexico City, over 2 kilometers up there, Mile High City itself. And Ferrari, look at you guys.
Ferrari, pretty little horse.
Coming home 1-2 in the U.S. a week before, coming home 1-3 this time. Your top 3 were Carlos Sainz. Freudian slip there. Carlos Sainz for Ferrari, Lando Norris for McLaren in P2, and then Charles Leclerc in P3 for the Prancing Pony. This race, it was pretty decent, but it was.
I'd say it was good.
It was also marked by 2 very let's call them technically flawed moves. Max Verstappen's a dirty racer, and we all knew it. And he finally got his hand caught in the cookie jar. For the love of God.
This was the most egregious moves Max has made.
I don't even know if they were
since he rear-ended.
Pretty egregious
Ricardo.
in Austin and in Austria.
No, this is way worse. Like the one in Austin, it kind of made sense because it was a race down a DRS straight, and Austria, he was boxing him out, and like there's gray areas there. There were no gray areas here. Well, that just happens. That part people off the track consistently. He was forcing him wide to try to protect. Okay, but like this, there is no explanation. It was bad. He tried to overtake Lando Norris going into the S's in Sector 2 in Mexico, where like nobody tries that, and just flew the corner into the.
It was Lando area. Trying to overtake him again.
Right, but what I'm saying is he went for the late break as if he was going to protect solely because he was stubborn. He's never going to make that corner. Nobody tries that in that situation. Like just dangerous driving overall. So to see him, I watched the race earlier because I had heard he'd gotten 20 seconds in penalties, and I was like, "Wait, how?" And then I see them going to that first at the end of the DRS straight in Sector 1, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pushing it right there. He'll probably get penalized for that." And then immediately after, he just flies
the very next corner again.
And I'm just
absolutely.
It's like corner, and then there's 2 turns, then you come around there and you hit the left into the S's, and he just flies it. And I'm like, oh my God, dude!
He was just
learn to pick your battles.
He's not driving to win. He's driving so that Lando Norris doesn't.
That's
the name of his game right now. That's been the name of his game for half the season now. And let's preface this by saying, after what happened in Austin, where Lando Norris overtook him off track after Max forced him so wide that both cars went off the track, and Lando Norris was also ultimately given a 5-second penalty, which put him back behind Max. Similar situation this time around, too. Lando was forced off the track again, passes out of bounds. This time, however, Lando was ahead at the apex. There was no denying that, so he did not give the place back. Ultimately, it didn't matter because, as we said, Max got those 2 10-second penalties for not just 1, but 2 dangerous driving moves. On Friday, though, there was a drivers' meeting to talk with the FIA about these driving tactics. And it was reported that Lando and Max were going at it at this meeting, Nick. They were exchanging words, and an overwhelming number of the drivers were on Lando's side because you can tell clear as day that Max isn't driving a fair fight. If you try to pass him and your name is Lando Norris, he's just going to run you wide because he knows he can get away with it. And I'll tell you why. So at the Mexican Grand Prix, right, pushes Lando off the track, does it again. Both turns, both maneuvers, whatever, are under investigation by the FIA, noted by the FIA, being investigated by the stewards. Didn't take long for his team to come on the radio and say, Max, we've picked up a 10-second penalty. Let me just do a little anecdote here, Nick. When you were a kid, right, you were being a little shit. Parents told you not to do something. You continued to do it because you could tell.
I wasn't that guy often, but yeah.
Yeah, but it happens. We're all snot-nosed brats at some point. I can remember a couple of times, and you can tell, around the 3rd or 4th time your parents tell you not to do something and you continue to do it, they're not going to do anything about it. I can keep doing this, man. They're not going to do anything about it. And then that comes the moment where you are bent over a knee so fast, and in a second later, you're holding your bottom going, what just happened? Why does my behind hurt right now? Yeah.
Sean knew that was always going to be prefaced by Bob Barie going, Sean Robert.
No, I never even got that. Like I said, it was over the knee, bam, bam, and you're up. It's like nothing even happened. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? For Bob Barie, it was his freakishly large hands against my backside. For Kathy Barie, it was a wooden spoon that just seemed to magically appear out of nowhere. Like, ma'am, we are at a swim meet. Where did that wooden spoon come from?
A special holster for it.
Ready to go. Yeah. Give me your knuckles. Whack, whack.
She's just sitting there in the crowd, just like tapping the wooden spoon on her hand, just like staring at you like, you better not misbehave or I'm going to beat your ass.
No, Dad, it was the ass. Mom, it was the wooden spoon on the knuckles. I love you both, by the way. And I deserved it every time I got it. I promise that.
My dad once cracked a wooden spoon over my sister. Moderation, not a strong suit.
Exactly. You know what? Hey, we're still doing all right. The reason I bring this up is Max has been that little snot-nosed brat that over time, over years, has just continued to get away with these dangerous maneuvers. And people have said, you need to do something about this. And the FIA has been like, oh, it's our sweet baby Max. Oh, our little baby. He's just Max. You know, he's exploring his boundaries. It's important for us. The FIA is literally gentle parenting a spoiled brat. Not this time. They hit him with the 10-second penalty. That first 10-second penalty, when his pit wall let him know that he had it, what was his reaction, Nick? What did he say?
I don't remember exactly what he said.
This is all he said. That's aggressive. That's it. There was no complaining in his voice. There was no, for what? There was no, but he passed me off track. It was just, that's aggressive, because he knew. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He didn't care because he didn't think he would face the consequences. And he faced the consequences not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Good job,
that's
FIA.
Why he finishes P5. That's why they redid the rules because of Max going into that race weekend. Because there was a lot of discussion and dismay among other drivers for the way that he was able to test the gray areas, drive outside the lines of the rules and literally outside the lines. And that's why he ended up not P5, but P6. 20 seconds in penalties will have that happen to you and knock you out of a bit of a battle there. And then Lando, justice is served, finishes P2. Why, Sean?
Why what?
Because Charles Leclerc almost put his car in a wall going around the final turn when they were battling.
That is true. I mean, Lando was going to get him anyway. But notice how that was just a good, clean battle for the little time that they were battling before.
There were not a lot of necessarily clean battles in this race, by the way.
It's a very skinny track, I noticed.
Mm-hmm. And it was
you always forget just how skinny that track is. There was also, we go with Max and Lando. We moving on?
Yes, we are.
There was also the inter-rebel fighting between Sergio Perez and Liam Lawson in his second race. They got tangled up a little bit. Liam Lawson ends up passing in a RB, in a V car, passing the mothership car. And Liam Lawson, the Kiwi, just shows Sergio some love in his home race by flicking him off.
It was perfect.
Love it.
Liam, that should be Liam's seat in the future, and I hope that it will be. And through 2 races, he's driven pretty well.
That middle finger,
it was graceful. Honestly, he passed him, checked his mirror, passed him, and then just a little cross the shoulder bird. Take that, Sergio.
Boom.
I don't care if you are from Mexico.
That middle finger wasn't just a middle finger. That was I'm coming for your seat, bro.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
You best check your mirrors. Your bathroom mirror, when you open your medicine cabinet and you close it, I'm there. When you shut off the light at night, I'm there.
When you get in your car and you back out of your garage, you better check the rear view mirror. Not because you need to see if the door's open, but because I'm there.
With piano wire.
And I've cut the brakes.
Liam Lawson, a menace to society and to the Mexican Minister of Defense. So here we go. Again, Ferrari 1-3, Carlos Sainz's second win of the year. We have another multi-race winner along with Lewis Hamilton, along with Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, and now Carlos Sainz.
It's been a great year.
Wonderful season.
John, can we take a moment just to like tip the cap to Carlos Sainz?
I don't have a cap on me, but I'm tipping it.
And neither do I, and I don't have a lot of hair either. But still, he's having a hell of a stretch here. I mean, I know he didn't win in Coda, but he drove really well. They got a 1-2 there. He put together maybe the fastest performance. Now I'm not comparing this time wise, but like he destroyed in qualifying. Like he put down, what was it, a 1:15.9 or something like that, and nobody else was flirting with breaking, getting under 1:16. Like just flying around that track. Pretty dominant weekend for a guy who's going to Williams next year. Like, look, all right, two things here that I took away from that. One, Ferrari is going to be fun to watch next year.
Yeah.
I love Ferrari.
I mean,
they're not clowns anymore. Their car is fast, and they're getting Lewis Hamilton. They're going to be really fun to watch next year.
If I had to pick a team to win it all next year, my money right now would be on Ferrari. Yeah,
it's Ferrari. Yeah, it might be a Ferrari and McLaren battle for constructors, and Max will try and fit his way into the driver's standing.
It's a Ferrari McLaren battle for the constructors right now because Ferrari officially overtook Red Bull for second place in the constructors championship. There's still 4 races to go. They could still win this constructors battle.
Yeah. And their car, they look like they made the most improvement out of that faux second summer break.
I think they're only 29 points behind McLaren right now in the constructors, and Charles Leclerc he's not catching. I mean, obviously he lost some Lando this time around, but that race for second place in the drivers' championship is also very, very close. So Oscar Piastri kind of needs to step his game up a little bit. Bad qualifying, winds up, I believe, coming home in 8th place, sandwiched between 2 Haas's, which second double points finish in a row.
Yeah.
Who is this Haas team? And where have they been all my life?
They looked strong last weekend. Like another team that did well in the break. You had me at Haas. One thing to succeed in the US when it's Haas racing, like that's their home race, right? But it's another thing to do it in Mexico and in relatively emphatic fashion. By the way, checking on the driver standings, Sean, I don't want to like pour cold water on the title fight, but I don't think it's over.
You don't think it's over, or it is
over? 47 points. I don't think that's over.
You're 4 races to go and 120 points up
and
for
Orlando
grabs.
went away, from getting real interesting. And I know Red Bull looks stronger coming out of the break as well. They looked strong at Coda, but like if Max, self-destructs like he did, self-sabotages, then like this could get pretty interesting pretty quick. I mean, like seeing him P6 and Lando P2, it was like, oh. You might be missing out on some points here. I mean, I know it's only 10 points, but you might regret the way you drove this weekend.
Can Max defend any other way against Lando?
No, that's
not the way McLaren is driving
any other
right
way
now.
Against anybody else. No,
that car is still better than the Red Bull. And if he
the 2 fastest cars on the track right now are McLaren and Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're not even looking at finishing on the podium anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be trouble. Let's talk about the podium, though, because coming up, we have the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We're headed to Brazil. Yes? Yeah. Okay. You looked surprised there for a second. Yeah, we're headed to Brazil.
Letting you go.
Stop 3 of a triple header. Only 4 races to go. We're going from Brazil to Vegas to Qatar to Abu Dhabi. The dash to Abu Dhabi is on, like you said. Title race isn't over. It's a whole new ball game now, thanks to Max self-sabotage, as you just said. So we're heading to Brazil. Nick, let's do some podium predictions.
Let's do it. I'm going to go out on the shortest of limbs, really more like a digit, like a finger and a pinky finger at that.
I mean, your hands are freakishly large, but still.
If your hand's bigger than your face, you have cancer.
Cut that out.
P1. Carlos Sainz does it again.
Ooh.
Why not?
Okay.
I think that track will actually fit him a little bit. We're going to go P1 Carlos, P2 Lando, P3 Piastri.
Okay.
I want to go Leclerc, but I'm going to go Piastri. No Red Bull on the podium.
That Ferrari looks dang fast right now. That being said, Interlagos, well, that's not where they race anymore, right?
It's Sao Paulo.
It is Sao Paulo, yeah.
Yeah, it's still Interlagos, yeah.
Okay. That is a very fast track. McLaren have a very fast car,
fast.
And it is very good around those fast corners where they don't have to slow down to brake a lot. You can go flat out. I'm going to take McLaren 1-2. to put some separation between them and Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, and then again, Lando chipping away at Max in the Drivers' Championship. Give me Lando Norris P1, Oscar Piastri P2, and then I will also take Carlos Sainz for P3. I'll say McLaren, Ferrari, Max is back there at P5.
What's the point differential there? No fast lap included.
And I'm going to guess Lando probably can't get the fast lap again because, again, I'm glad they're getting rid of it because Sergio Perez got fastest lap this time around for pitting real quick for softs. And it was just...
No, I thought Leclerc did.
Lawson. No, Liam Lawson got fastest lap. Oh, Leclerc did. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, Leclerc did. He
had it.
Yeah.
Then Perez had it. Leclerc got it at the end. You're right. I'm sorry. My bad about that. I'm always confused on the points. F1 points.
Okay, so...
25 points, seconds 18, then 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1 for 10th place.
Yeah.
So if Lando wins, that's 25 points to 3,
well, no, it's 25,
5.
18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. But
so,
I thought you said 16 because you got the +1 for the fastest lap. So
if Lando gets fastest lap and the win, that's 26 points. And if Max finishes in 5th, that is his 10 points. So that's a deficit of 16 points. So you said 47 points was the margin right now. So cut that down to
3 races
29.
like that is 48.
Cut that down to 29 points.
Yeah.
At the end of this race, Lando will be within 29 points of Max.
Do it again.
Close.
Do it again the next week or later in Vegas, which I could very much see that happening there.
That's a very fast track as well. All of these tracks... See, my problem is Qatar and then again at Abu Dhabi do not suit McLaren as well as they suit Ferrari. Again, the whole Red Bull thing is up in the air because I don't know what that car is going to be from week to week. The only thing they got going for him right now is it's Max Verstappen. He's still the greatest driver in the world at the moment. Just doesn't have the greatest car. So we shall see.
It's real interesting, and I'm not saying that's not in the cards if he drives like that.
A DNF too, or some sort of malfunction with the car where he winds up out of the points, that makes things really interesting too for both of these drivers. So you've got Carlos winning, then Lando and Oscar. I've got a McLaren 1-2, followed by a Ferrari 3-4, Max down in 5. Just doing podium places, but I'll give you the top 5 too.
Look, man, I'm a Red Bull fan, but I like chaos and I like entertainment. So let's make it entertaining.
I think this could finish up to, we might even have if Charles can stick with it, we might even have him in the mix headed into the final couple races too.
Yeah, I'm just super irritated when I watched Carlos put that performance together this weekend. I was like, Red Bull, you fumbled the bag so hard. Like, you could have not extended Checo and you could have signed him and had an awesome team, and you blew it.
Instead, he's going to Williams, where he will wallow in mediocrity.
I am upset. I am as angry as I was watching Monday Night Football last night when the Giants refused to provide a back to chip TJ Watt.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that, too. I mean, you're watching that going, why is TJ going one-on-one? I know they said they wanted to put him on an island all night, and for the most point, they had, but
it's third and
TJ
7.
Freaking Watt.
It's a crucial third down. Chip him. Don't leave him against one-on-one against a replacement level. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get over that. That decisions like that are why I hate watching the Giants, because they just shoot. They get in their own way all the time.
It wasn't the 2-point conversion that was just maybe.
Oh, would you like to talk about that real quick, Sean?
Sure.
Not the play call. Can we talk about the logic? Okay. I had an argument with my colleague about this last night. The trend in the NFL right now, see how we shifted back to football real quick to close the show, is when you're down 14, you go for 2 to make it a 6-point game. And if you don't get it, then you're only down 8, you're still down 8, and you have to go for 2 to tie it if you're able to score again. And the theory is that, like, you dug yourself a deep enough hole that you might as well give yourself any edge you can get in the event that you score again, then just have to kick an extra point to take the lead. But my thought process is, and the other thought is, like, you get 2 chances at it. My thought process is keep it at a 7-point game, kick the extra point, and then you can make the decision if you happen to score again, whether you want to be gutsy and go for the win or send it to overtime. Why would you force yourself to have to convert a 2-point conversion in a clutch situation at the end of a game? Unless you're right, like, you can get in that situation and be like, we're riding the momentum wave. Woo! Dan Campbell going for the win. Let's do it. But to do it before, I think is just, it's flawed logic. Like,
it didn't make a lot of sense then.
I hate it.
And then they stamped the ball before the lineman, the wall even got ready.
Yeah, the execution was poor.
the call was bad. The execution was bad. It was just overall. I mean, that's the Giants in a nutshell. And you're looking at a possibility of the GM, certainly the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback all not being there next year.
Well, their owner already said that they don't anticipate any changes to GM or head coach. So
sure. I will say, 7 rookies starting last night. They didn't look half bad. The Giants do have a bright future, and Malik Neighbors. Holy crap!
Oh, and he didn't even destroy you like he's destroyed some other teams.
No, this guy is an absolute. What is in the water at LSU? Nick, I know you're an Ohio State fan, but I'm sorry, I got to give them wide receiver you.
I disagree.
It's close, but like I just keep seeing this. Like it's honestly be a fun pickup game 7-on-7 if we had like CJ Stroud with Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then we also had on the same
Michael
side
Thomas back in the day.
We had Justin Jefferson versus with Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors. Like just that'd be fun.
Actually, that's a tight race.
That should be the Pro Bowl right there.
I would say in terms of volume, Ohio State has a slight edge, but oh man, that's tight. That's tight.
Joe Burrow's the quarterback of that team, obviously.
No, he's the quarterback of both teams.
No, he's not. Shut up, Nick.
Yes,
Shut up.
Yeah, he's the quarterback of both teams.
Fine. Jayden Daniels is the quarterback then. That's probably better.
No. It would be funny if Joe played quarterback for both teams.
Exactly.
For the joke. It's not because like, oh, he's Ohio State. Like it's
Joe,
for the
why
joke
did you
he was at Ohio State and then he was at LSU.
Joe, why did you elect to quarterback for both teams? Play all-time quarterback for the 7-on-7 game. Well, I went to school at Ohio State, but I played football for LSU. Okay, thanks, Joe. Back to you guys. This has been episode 53 of the Gridiron Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. As always, follow us on social media. Like, subscribe, listen, share us. We really appreciate it. Drop us a review as well. Don't be mean to us, please. And as always, you can email us at thegridironpodcast3. That is thegridironpodcast3@gmail.com. For Nick Shook, the absent Katie Caldwell, I'm Sean Barie. And as always, keep it Cleveland and live life in the fast lane.
Keep it Cleveland. That's nice. Hey, if you want to be mean, be mean. We'll take a constructive criticism, even if Sean's ego can't handle it.
It's the internet, man. Don't ask for people to be mean.
They're already mean to me.
You've been
good night, Canada.
Jeez.